it turned out
I think it's very important to know just how the festival got its start, what's the history of it, and how it relates to the black community in the present day.
According to newspaper accounts, it grew out of a confrontation between two young men, I believe, in the police department, and it kind of started a fuse that took 3 or 4 weeks to put out. Before it was over, it involved the police department, the fire department, the National Guard, and 33 citizens lost their lives.
I see. Well, what has happened since, or what really caused it besides the police confrontation? Were there any underlying causes?
Well, that community has long been a victim of the kinds of conditions that make up ghettos throughout this country. The amazing thing, Miriam, that I find really distasteful to me, that this word ghetto that grew out of the many confrontations across the country in the 1960s, I had never heard the word before. At least I had never used it in describing the community where I grew up.
Right.
And now, every time you turn around, you hear this word ghetto. Well, you know how the English language is. They will use a word when it's necessary. They will insert a word. When I grew up in the Watts area, it was my community, and we were proud of that community. In 1966, citizens in that area came up on the idea of perhaps starting a festival to commemorate the revolt that took place the year before, and kind of pay homage to those 33 people who lost their lives during the revolt of that year. And they decided they would have a festival. And the festival was to be put on by the people. Uh, the people were supposed to police themselves. And for that 3 or 4 days, it would be totally community involvement. I think in that year, the first Grand Marshal was Stan Sanders, a young man who grew up in that area, who was a Rhodes Scholar, a little All-American football player, and I think 1966 was his first year home. The Sanders family had long been a kind of first family in that area. His brother being the heavyweight Olympic champion, I think, in 1956, and his mother and father been very dynamic people who lived in the area and who'd gone back to high school long after they were up in age and received their diplomas, and another brother who played football for Jordan High School, and of course Stan Sanders, the Rhodes Scholar, which we're all proud of.
Who's
And
Mr. Jaquette?
Tommy Jaquette was probably one of the main catalysts that helped perpetuate and move the Arts Festival in the kinds of direction that it seemed at that time was leading to institutionalize this festival. Mr. Jaquette was referred to himself in the early days of the festival that I understand to be the Sons of Watts, which actually I think they were talking about the young men that were perhaps 10 to 15 years younger than I, because I grew up in that area, and
So you could be a son of
I
Watts.
could be a Sons of Watts.
Yeah.
The festival will be held again this year, August 15th through August 19th, here at Will Rogers Park, located at 103rd and Central Avenue. But along with the other things that we have scheduled with at the festival this year, as it relates to the cultural components, the recreational components, and the educational components, we're going to also be addressing ourselves to some of the social ills that plague the black and brown and other minority community. We're going to be addressing ourselves to alcoholism, to community police relationships, or the lack of community police relationship. We're going to also be addressing ourselves to a very controversial and hot issue such as racism as it affects the black community. How does it affect the black community? What is white racism? We're going to also be dealing with some of the problems that come out of racism, such as bad housing, bad education, no job opportunities or very little job opportunities, the overall problems that face us as a people here in the black community by white America. And this area over here, this is the concession area. Here's where community people get a chance to display their wares, their goods, sell their food, their earrings, and the jewelry that's made by community residents. This area will be open all 5 days of the festival, beginning Wednesday morning at 12 noon. And you find a lot of well-made jewelry and items here on sale, real bargains if you're out for a bargain. And they have a lot of African artifacts as well as other handmade type of jewelry and items.
Hello there. This is called Black Montage. This is a conglomeration of some of the great black heroes in American history. Like this poster dates all the way back to like the 14th centuries and comes all the way up to present time. To kind of give you an indication of some of the people who are on there, we have people like Phillis Wheatley, one of the greatest poets of all time. We have people like P.B.S. Pinchback, who was like the black governor of the state of Louisiana. You have like Samuel Taylor, one of the greatest black musicians in the early century. The 10th Cavalry used to call the Buffalo Soldiers. You have people like Lewis Latimer, the black inventor, who actually had the original drawings for the telephone. You have people like Harriet Tubman, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Eldridge Cleaver, Malcolm X, Rap Brown. You have like Errol Father Hearns, Burt Williams, and George Walker. So it's like really a conglomeration of some of the great black heroes in American history. Not only that, this booklet also comes along with it. And as I said before, it's called Black Montage. And like this is like the key to the picture. And it has a centerpiece in the middle. And these, like, for instance, if you wanted to find out, like, who this individual was or this individual, you would find their numbers on here, and then you would turn to the appropriate page and paragraph, and it tells you about exactly what they did, you know, the time and the date and so forth. And, like, this masterpiece was put together by me and my other two brothers, Ron and Clyde Williams, and I'm Julian Williams. And so, like, not only is it a beautiful picture, it's also an educational piece. And so this is, like, kind of the thing that we're trying to relate to the people out in the community, is to trying to restore our heritage back in the people.
Ecology cleanup program. We cleaned up the park. We just finished doing the thing over at the MacArthur Park for the festival in Black. We picked up all the litter from all the park. We give the kids a record each time they come in with a bag of litter. McDonald's been very good to give up McDonald's sandwiches. And Coca-Cola people have been very wonderful. They gave a few Cokes.
The first year, of course, you know, there was no money, and the city was still burned out. 103rd Street had no buildings hardly, you know, so they set up booths along 103rd Street. All you had to do was just bring you a tabletop and just sit there and sell things. And
what kind of things did they sell?
Oh, there was barbecue, gumbo, dolls that people made, sculptures that people made, jewelry. You know, there were no economic kind of involvement. I mean, no one rented you a space. The space was free because the street was burned out. And actually, my own personal opinion is that while the people who formed the festival, the black people who thought of this concept, I really think that they had no doubt in their mind that it was the kind of thing that would go on for years and years. But now, these many years later, I think that the officials in the city of Los Angeles, I think they used the festival in its early stages as a passive kind of way to, I hate to use the word retool because that means that you're getting ready for confrontation. But I think it was a kind of way to quiet the community down. That's why they gave it that kind of support early.
What kind of support did the city, in fact, give?
They let the people police the festival. I mean, it wasn't the police department wasn't there walking around every night. The Sons of Watts became the security for the festival, and it kind of was turned over to the total community. And you didn't have a lot of outsiders coming in and dictating policy, procedure, and the total community was involved.
Well, when did that change, or how did it change?
Well, I think it was inevitable that the festival was going to change. I think that anything in this country that becomes institutionalized brings on changes.
This component here is what we call our social service component. In this component here, all our community agencies, groups, and organizations that provide service to people, people services, takes place in this area. Here where we'll be dealing with sickle cell anemia testing. Here where we'll be dealing with alcoholism. We'll be dealing with polio vaccine, all the health services that are available in the black community, as well as other services that's available to the community from various agencies that's set up to serve the community, such as Department of Human Resources, Social Security offices, as well as county and city recruiting for police officers. Black police officers will be taking place here in the park as well.
I know that all of a sudden the people wasn't control of the community. The security was replaced by the police department. All of a sudden Schlitz beer and Salem cigarettes and became a part of the festival.
And how did they play a part in the festival?
They started putting money into the festival. And
what did they support? How was their support used?
They supported different components in the festival. I think they started supporting the beauty pageant and nominating the Watts Queen, one of the companies. But I could see that once these companies became involved in the festival, that there would be a change. Now, uh, I'm not sure that, I think that was inevitable, that kind of change would come about. I think perhaps the thing that disturbs me most is that I think that these companies could have come into the festival with their advertisement and their commodities, but I still think that the festival should have still been controlled by the people that has something to do with the festival.
Okay.
I don't think the large corporate boards should then start putting out what to do in terms of the festival.
Well, the only statement that I would be possible to make, brother, is encourage black people to buy a Muhammad Speak newspaper from each salesman that they see and to thank them for their past support. That's all I would be able to say. Encourage the people to buy Muhammad Speaks and visit the Muhammad Mosque, either 5606 South Broadway or in Compton, California. See, the minister would be the one that would have anything to say about the Nation of Islam internal workings, not myself.
Hi, my name is Laini, and I'm sculpturing a head. I call it hair sculpturing. Some people call it French braiding, and some people call it corn rolling. This is an ancient hairstyle, and it's originated in Africa, and it dates back to the 15th century. It helps your hair to grow. It stimulates your scalp. It actually helps you to think better. You don't have to comb your hair maybe once a month. Like, I leave my hair up for about 4 to 6 weeks. It helps stimulate your scalp, like I said, and it really helps it to grow because you don't comb your hair. The difference between a sculpture and actual corn rolling is a sculpture is done in designs, as you can see with my hair, as it's coming from a point here. And also, as you can see from my husband's head, his hair is sculptured.
This is the gymnasium here at Will Rogers Park, and here where the art exhibit will be held. We've had an art exhibit ever since there's been a festival. And this is one of the very few places that black artists can exhibit and display their artwork for any period of time in the black community for blacks. And this is paintings on blacks and by black artists. We have a very nice art exhibit scheduled for this year. And it's really something to see. I would invite everybody to attend the art exhibit and come in and see what real black art is all about. And as you very well know, in the past, very few black artists have been able to get recognition for their work and their talent. We here at the festival hope to not only have this art show continue every year, but to do an article or items on the art exhibit continuously throughout the year.
As you know, in the early days of the festival, the art exhibition was held out in the park, and where you simply put up some unpainted plywood and hung pictures on every imaginable thing you could think of.
Is that right? Well, where did the art come from?
The art came from the community. That it's amazing, and now that I think back, prior to 1966, and I worked in a major institution, which was Los Angeles County Art Museum. I knew of 2 black artists. I mean, people who were black that painted.
Is that right?
And the first year at the festival, upon reaching the festival grounds, I saw all these canvases and sculpture and assemblages and collages and all these statements, And I was completely in awe because I didn't even know black people painted.
So this was a learning experience for you then?
It was a turning point in my life in terms of art and the community. In 1970, I became involved with the festival on another capacity.
And how was that?
Well, in early 1969, a employee of the Los Angeles County Art Museum named Claude Booker, who's deceased now, who probably was one of the most influential young men in terms of community arts in this city. Claude saw the need for some kind of support group, a group in the community that would help support the black visual artists and at the same time create a space where the black visual artist could show his work. One of Claude's first things was to approach the museum in terms of having black programs at the museum, which he successfully did with a lecture series in the Being Auditorium with such leading black artists such as Samela Lewis, Dr. Samela Lewis, John Riddle, Charles White, John Otterbridge, and I think the other artist was Bernie Casey, who was an ex-football star for the 49ers and who also was a very successful visual artist. It just seemed to Claude that one of the steps toward institutionalizing the art component of the Watts Festival was to head it in some direction of growth. Claude felt as though now it was time to take the art component in a direction that no longer just had unpainted plywood boards, but took on the kind of identification of a museum in terms of exhibiting art like in an institutional manner, like really creating a kind of a mortar and brick concept.
I'm Claude Booker. I'm president of the Black Arts Council and director of this installation, the 7th annual Watts Summer Festival art exhibition. Three sculptures by John Riddle, an artist from Watts, who really was one of the artists that started the Watts Summer Festival art exhibit. He collected junk from the burned out debris of 103rd Street and turned it into an art form. John's a very angry young man who makes some very caustic social statements with his welded, painted sculpture. That was done during the week that George Jackson was killed in San Quentin, and in the following 2 weeks, the now infamous Attica riots. This is called There's Something More at Stake Here Than Just Attica, and it was used as the centerpiece in the 1972 panorama of black artists that was done at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. As I said, Riddle is a very caustic humor, a very talented artist. The piece that we're about to examine is a comment on the military prowess of the United States. This piece suggests the military prowess of the United States. It's called USA Death Ray. Charlie, or the Spy in the Sky, the police helicopter in the Watts community, has set off quite a controversy with their new helicopter pad. This piece is called Surveillance, and you can see what it is. They're black folks being spied upon by the seeing eye of the helicopter that can turn night into day. A very young artist, a very promising artist, by the name of Richard Wyatt, Jr. And we happen to have Richard here today. Richard, can you tell us a little bit about your work?
First one's entitled Summer Vacation, ? And there's a young brother sitting on the porch of a shabby apartment looking sort of aloof and everything, and he's wondering, is this my summer vacation and all?
Right, doesn't have anything to do and
no
place to go.
No, that's it, his summer vacation right there.
How about the other one, Richard?
This one is Yes, this is oil painting also. Sort of like collage with Levi's and everything, entitled Summer Vacation. No, not Summer Vacation, but Starchy Levi's. And it's just a typical scene of black brothers, you know, their starchy Levi's and everything, and
Right.
how they get into them. And,
Right. Composition and color and everything is marvelous.
Thank you.
We received a letter from Lompoc Federal Penitentiary, and it was from a gentleman by the name of Spencer Cheney, and he wanted to know could his mother bring in a work of art he wanted to show. And he sent us a snapshot, and it fit right in with the Watts Summer Festival art exhibit. As you know, or didn't know, our Isaac Hayes is the Grand Marshal. Spencer Cheney is a prisoner, and there must be thousands of brothers that are locked up in the federal and state penitentiaries, and we would certainly like to see they're developing as artists, and I believe all of the arts are coming out of the prisons today: literature, painting, etc.
Hi, I'm Greg Pitts, one of the artists in the show, and this is one of the pieces up above you that I've done called Been Down So Long It Looks Like Up. And basically what the piece is a collage of certain conditions that exist in the black community. For example, you know, the overpopulation or overcrowdedness signified by the dowels, the dope problem, you know, by the hypodermic needle, and the skag and the matches, problem of rats and roaches symbolized by the rat trap. The whole cultural shock like blacks and any minority groups go through in this country, symbolized by this section here. Basically, I was dealing with what could be considered a paradox. Being down so long, but being up. Over here I have a mirror. You look in the mirror and it puts you in the picture. And it more or less re-emphasizes the title. And the whole thing of it is that really you're perceiving this whole piece down here on the ground. Your reference point is down. Over in this section we have a series of pieces, most of which were done by students at the Watts Towers Art Center. They have a year-long program along with a summer program. And many of the students have great potential if their skills and expertise are developed. Over here we have 3 examples of pop art, you know, the gum, package of Cools, and Crest toothpaste. The shape canvas over here was also done by one of the students at the Watts Towers Art Center. The 2 pieces over here are done by a student in LACC by the name of Joe Sims, and he was dealing with, you know, the identification problem that exists with a lot of blacks, you know, which way home. That's signified by, you know, the dotted lines which you find on the street and the lines that you find on the street. Also this piece here called Going in Circles. He also has another piece here called Save the Children, which can be classified as the semblance or junk construction. And we have 2 other pieces over here done by other black artists.
Well, as black people start to decide what their fate and destiny will be, as we are not allowed in museums, as we start to develop our own critics and aesthetics, I think that we're going to find that art won't be so precious with black people as it is in the mainstream. I believe that we'll return to functional art. I just passed by a truck on the way to Will Rogers down on Century that was selling watermelons and paintings.
I don't know what year, but you could see that if people see there's a market. I mean, it's a capitalistic country. Yeah. If people could see there's a market for certain commodities, and then that's when you have the carpetbaggers be whatever.
You said early on.
Council was sort of carpetbagging it then? In corporate interests?
I don't think that maybe the city council was the carpetbaggers. They might have been a representative of the carpetbaggers. Blame. You know, many people blame.
I mean, the community at large.
Well, anytime that you have a position like Tommy's, you will have to absorb some of the blame. Is that, personally, I think Tommy was the kind of dynamic force that gave the festival credence.
Yeah. This area here will be set up or be reserved for military exhibits and displays. All branches of the military will be represented in this particular area here. The military emphasis will be on marketable skills in civilian life. We will have nothing on display here as it relates to war or weapons of war. The things that we have here will be in the areas of radar, communication, the technical fields and marketable skills that are possessed or housed in the armed forces. And they'll be happening here for that full 5 days during the festival. Over in this area over here is where we're going to set up and have the carnival that'll be running for the full 5 days of the festival beginning Wednesday morning, August 15th. And it's going to be a bigger carnival this year than even last year.
Surely when large corporate giants like Coors and Salem's start infiltrating into the festival, and then community people start talking in terms of money, and you know that a community that has no money, and then when you start talking about perhaps a tiny sum of $100,000, it becomes blown out of proportion.
This is the area that we're going to be holding our night park concerts and film festival in at Will Rogers Park. This is the staging area here. And we're going to have nightly concerts every night here at the festival ground. We're going to open up the show with the Friends of Distinction and Oscar Brown Jr. and the motion picture Cleopatra Jones are scheduled for 8 p.m. Wednesday night, opening night. This component here is sponsored by Olympic Brewery Company. They underwrite this entire component, the film festival, the park concert, the stage, the sound system, and everything that it takes to put on this concert for the full 5 days. And they're one of the sponsors who've been with the festival for about 2 or 3 years now. And we've had a successful event every year since they've been involved here with the festival.
What I was really wondering, you know, we're talking about the Sons of Watts policing the festivals, and then you say that later on that the police department had the security. Now, what changes took place in the evening after the police department started watching the festival?
Well, surely you know there's going to be a change is because now the police department are made up basically about people who don't live in the community. So they don't have the kind of identity with the people. The police department is mainly made of whites, you know, who live outside the community. And
surely, what differences did they make? Did they make any difference?
Surely make a difference.
What did they do? What did they do?
I think that...
Did they cause any problems?
I think that, first of all, let's put it this way. Once the Salem people and the Schlitz people and those outside agencies start putting money into the festival, now their investments have to be protected. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's what it's all about.
Well, did that cause the black community any problems?
Sure, the black community who had bad relationship with the police department in terms of harassing and...
The police department harassed of the black community?
Well, the police department has always harassed that community.
In what way? Can you tell me some ways that they may have harassed the community at large?
Or let's say this. Isn't that the reason why the festival was its original purpose? Was because of police harassment in the community.
You mean why it was formed?
Yeah, I mean the whole commemoration of the Watts Festival was the fact that the people revolted against police brutality, which was continuous and all pervasive in that community.
I don't think that's why the festival was formed, because the police department had long harassed that community, and I think that the handful of people that had the festival concept. No, but it's the truth though. It had nothing to do with the police.
So we go through this like the handful of America. Right now we're talking about the Los Angeles handful down here in Washington. Police, take it, stop. Three seconds at a time. Police, we talking about the police. Police.
was agitation from the sense that there were other people coming from other parts of town. People were totally afraid to go. Although they wanted to go, they knew there was a black event going on in town, one of the biggest black events on the West Coast. They wanted to come. They were afraid that they would be attacked or molested. This whole myth was being perpetrated by the news media every year that if you go to Watts, be careful of this, be careful of that. Isn't that a large part of why they had such a strong police infiltration in terms of what they called security?
I really don't think that's the bottom line. I really don't think that's the bottom line was to protect it. Because the amount of people that came to the Watts Festival in terms of non-black people, percentage was very, very small. I really don't. I'm not trying to avoid the question.
No.
I just want to deal with the truth.
That they felt that whenever, and this is the myth that continually goes on, whenever black people get together, there's going to be violence. They're going to commit violent acts upon one another.
Well, see, I would buy that if, and this is really a deep personal feeling of myself.
Yeah.
And I've heard it discussed many times now. It might seem like it's a logical thing to say, you know, except for the fact that the way I can never put that together is that the only people that live in that community are black people, you know. And who are they there to protect? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that it's more deep-seated than that.
Well, maybe that's the corporate people.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the issue.
Yeah. And at that time, there was no corporate people because it was all burned out. You know, so that is a question that I've put over my mind many times, you know, is why the agitation? You know, because who they protect? You know, everything was burned out to start with, and who was there to protect? I mean, it really wasn't nobody to protect. And we're talking about 4 days.
Right. What we're really trying to get at is the myths that the festival started to accumulate. Now, of course, it started off peaceful, but as it grew larger, myths started growing out of it. Myths about Jaquette, myths about the park, about what went on in the park. I remember being in the park at night, and I ran into young people running back and forth in the park talking about, we're just keeping the police diffused. Because if they see some activity on one side of the park, they're going to chase us, and then they're going to go to the other side. And you have all kinds of pranks like that going on, and it just caused total confusion in which the police would come in and start beating people in the head.
Well, see, I feel this way. If I was really a part of that and really knew about it, I'd be the first to mouth off about it. You know what I mean? But I was kind of locked up in the art component, you know what I mean? And that I virtually spent a week inside that gymnasium.
No, I understand that.
You know what I mean? And the political ramifications, I really didn't know about.
Well, there was a lot of these things about the gangs, the youth gangs. They were trying to quell this youth violence, you know, Crips or whatever. People were just, they were, you know, all these things were coming out in the media, and it was like a real big deal. Youth gangs on the uprise. If you go to the Watts Festival, you're going to get it. They're going to get you behind some dark whatever. And those are the kind of myths that dispel festive activity within the black community, which gives a bad name in terms of this whole thing of black people getting together.
Yeah, but you listeners, on those issues, everything that I know about it is totally hearsay.
What up? Cadillac coming up.
Good to see you.
How you doing, Brother Tony? You got anything to say to the people, brother?
I think it's a beautiful parade and the people are beautiful, and I would like to see more of what is going on happen in order to try to help get this city. This is my first time being out here, and they said that it was really run down, but I see a lot that can happen out here. I would like to see a beautiful hotel and a lot of great things because a lot of beautiful people out here. You know, I don't know what's been happening, you know, and I see a great progress. I see a great potential of helping the people, you know.
Where you from?
I'm from Dallas, you know, and I'm doing this film called Jesus Saving Me. Probably show it out here free in order to help the people, you know. I fought 3 world champion. Me and Muhammad Ali came to the Olympics together and just have a great career, and I wish everybody could have the life that I have, you know. And I thank God for being able to see so many beautiful people that I love. Thank you very much.
Brother, what is this? Don't bother me, I can't cope.
The gospel musical, soul jazz gospel musical down at the Mark Taper Forum of the Music Center.
Does it pertain to Watts, the people in it, or are they from Watts?
An all-black company. It's directed by Vinette Carroll, who's in the car here, and it's with the music and lyrics were written by Mickey Grant, a young black woman. Through September.
Come see it, because it's written by us and performed by all black performers. Got to come see it. Don't bother me, I can't come.
Right, yeah, gotta see it.
What's your name, brother?
Albert Popwell. Right.
You brothers have anything to say, man, about the naked soul of Iceberg Sale?
I think it's possibly the best book to date that I've been able to write. Of course, it was a new format for me, the vignette essay format, and I'm very proud of it. And the sales are exceeding the first book, Pimp. And incidentally, Pimp is going to be a movie come this fall.
I want to ask you, is this going to be relevant to the black community?
Everything that I do and write about and think about is always relative to black people. Because that's where I'm at, brother.
The parade?
Yeah, this the end of it here.
Yeah. Was Isaac Hayes been by already?
Isaac Hayes been gone. He been gone, man. Y'all can take pictures of me.
How? I would like to say to the Spanish people that I'm very proud of this parade. I'm very happy. My name is Maria Davila. I am from Lincoln Heights, from NAP. We got here all color, all races. This is beautiful. This is the start of what can be really America. If we all stick together, we can make it. I am very proud of this festival today, and I hope that in the future we can have more of this. Really, that's what we need. This is the dream that we better see through. All humans together. I'm very proud of the people that organized this. Very happy to see all the people together.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Hello. Well, I'm very proud, and I'm very proud of everything, and I'm very proud of the black man's progress, and we're going to make it, baby. We're just going to make it.
All right. Said hello to everyone from Norwalk.
I'm Mrs. Delgado from Tacoma, California, and I have a son in the MOP organization. He was in a parade, and it was a beautiful parade here in Watts.
Oh, that's all right. We have a lady here who gave us the power for the people. What's your name, lady?
Weapon.
All right, sister. You got anything to say to the people?
Go for them.
All right.
I dig it. I dig it every year.
All
right. Right on. We righteous. We ready. We ready. Slow, but we show. We ready.
Get down.
Right on, good brother.
This parade is ending, and everyone is returning to their homes and wherever they came from around Southern California. It's been a beautiful festival. A lot of hope is here. If some people care to get into it, this is the people's community.